views and opinions of this show does not represent the views and opinions of Nash Community College, the Board of Trustees, Nash County Schools, Wilson County Schools, Franklin County Schools, Edgecombe County Schools, Oxford County Schools, and all other schools we talk about right here on the Grit and Grind, Daryl. We had to get this disclaimer out the way.
We got to get it out the way
because it's Inventory Monday.
It's Inventory Monday. And a lot's going to be said.
A lot's going to be said because not only is it Inventory Monday, but it's one of our special shows.
Yeah.
Playoff Sunday.
Yes.
And the thing is with Inventory Monday and Playoff Sunday is, if you're new to the show, we look at the teams who didn't get selected on Selection Saturday.
Right.
We talk about some things they could do to get there next year.
That's it.
And the teams that did get in, we talk about a road to that 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A state championship. What you need to do to get to that game.
Game next year.
So we got a lot to talk about, Daryl, but as always, before we jump into that,
we got to do some recapping.
we got to go back.
We got to go back in time.
We got to go to last week. The last week of the high school season.
I didn't want to talk about the last show, but I'm talking about this show because the team in Nash County took care of business.
They took care of business.
Them Firebirds took care of business, and they are now.
And well, I've been asked to do something.
You got to
Let me pause. Let me pause it right now.
Go ahead and do it.
A student sent us a message who asked me to remain anonymous.
Okay.
Asked me to do something. They said for a year they have had to hear something reminded to them every episode of Grit and Grind. So sorry, Northern Nash, but I got to do it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
My name is Shawn Lucas, and I am one half of the host of the Grit and Grind High School Podcast. And now I have the pleasure, the utmost pleasure, to introduce to you the new reigning and defending Grit and Grind Nash County champions, your Southern Nash Firebirds.
Woo. And with that said, Shawn,
it's time to start the show.
It's time to start the show. It's time to start the show.
Hey, I'm taking appointments if you need somebody.
And as we start the show, we also have to recognize a former player.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right.
The namesake of the sign behind us, Julius Peppers, for being recognized with the Carolina Panthers.
That's right.
On their
Ring of Honor. That Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, Wall of Honor.
Hall of Fame, huh? Ring of Honor, Wall of Fame.
Congratulations to Julius Peppers, some Southern Nash alum, as far as receiving that as well.
Who played right here on this field many years ago.
Yep.
So congratulations, Julius. Well, Daryl, before we jump into Inventory Monday and give people a breakdown of what it's about in Playoff Sunday, I think we got to go back to Friday night.
Yeah, definitely.
We need to go back.
Yep.
And we won't go to Southern Nash game, but if we was at 2 games.
Yep, 2 games this
that
week.
we definitely want to hit on again. If you missed the live show, please go on Instagram and watch our live stream from the Fight and Hunt game. But I'm going to start off like this, Daryl.
Yeah.
You know, Hunt was coming in 8-1.
Yeah.
Playing for the Quad City outright conference, with outright conference champs, how Southern Nash is this year. No share being shared. If Fight won, they won a share of the conference championship, and not only they won the Wilson County championship, we'll give them a shout out.
Yep.
Not only did they win that, but it moved them up in seeding.
Yeah, it did.
Moved Hunt down in seeding. And I'm gonna start off like this again, Daryl.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming in that game.
I did not see it coming. And Fight jumped on Hunt early in the game, like we said on Friday night on our Instagram Live. They jumped on them early. It was 13-0 in the first half.
It just felt like they didn't want to let go.
They did not let go. And then that second half, you had players like Artis, Rick,
Hey, Barbie on that D-line.
Oh, man. Hill, playing the Grit Player of the Week last week. And all of those guys was tuned in, and they was just straight up balling in that second half. It started off with turnovers. They capitalized on a couple of interceptions,
they did.
A fumble, and they just continued to pound the ball and run the ball. That was the most impressive thing with me with Fight, is how they ran the ball in that game. Even when Hunt went down, scored a field goal in the second half, Fight just came right back down
and just ran the ball
right down the field. So shout out to Fight for winning the game
and
getting
winning
a
the
higher
share.
seed. Yeah,
Getting a high seed.
High seed in the playoffs as well.
And it's back to what we said on the live show. If you hunt, it's 8 years now.
Yeah.
You got to find a way.
Got to find a way.
They are going to be the reason why you get a lower seed every year if you don't beat them or win the conference outright.
Yeah.
So you got to find a way. There was another game we went to go see after we left the Viking. Well, during the Viking hunt game, not after we left. 5 minutes down the street, down Tillman Road. We went to WPA. WPA was playing for the 1A Tar Roanoke Conference Championship against an 8-1 Southeast Halifax team.
Yep.
Both teams were good. Things I noticed that game was WPA playing at home, it just made the difference.
Yeah, that was the biggest difference.
Home field crowd, it's just like that fight team. They got into it, they got going, and when they got going, they just didn't let go.
Yeah.
I mean, we both were saying that they just did not let go. Southeast tried to get back into the game, but WPA in that third, fourth quarter, like you said, what's your favorite slogan? They start flexing the muscles.
They flexed their muscles in that fourth quarter, and when that started happening for WPA,
things just started working right down the right path.
And they just took care of business like you want to be able to do in that fourth quarter. That's when you want to be able to take care of business.
Right.
And close that game out.
And win that conference championship. Because in 1A, if you're a high seed, you get a bye. So they're going to get a bye. And we'll talk about it more in playoff Sunday. But with that being said, Daryl, we got to go to inventory Monday.
Well, before we can hit that inventory, we got to say one more thing about this Southern Nash team.
I got to give you the floor.
Not only did they win the Grit and Grind Nash County champs, they also won their conference. So congratulations to Southern Nash for winning the conference as well. They took care of business at homecoming right here on this field a couple nights ago.
Senior night, that's right.
Senior night for them, and so congratulations to the Firebirds for winning the conference as well.
Well, we're going to do that. We got to keep rolling. Can I keep going?
Well, hit one more.
Well, there was another team that won the conference. Well, 2 more teams that won the conference.
Okay.
We got to give them congratulations because we can't forget about them.
Yep.
The 3-time reigning and defending Big East 2A champs.
Yep.
Those Bulldogs of Nash Central.
Took care of business.
Took care of business. And the Lewisburg Warriors.
Yep.
Who left our conference to go to the Neuse River Conference with Vance County, J.F. Weld, South Granville, Granville Central. First year in that conference in the 2A division, they won it. Lewisburg is back in the playoffs.
All right.
We're
going to talk about that.
We got to say that because that's scary.
Yeah.
Lewisburg back in the playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and give you a spoiler right now. That's scary.
Yeah.
Because they can.
Yeah.
They can get rolling. Well, we got Inventory Monday right here, Daryl, and as always, a lot of people that's new to our show, if you've been watching us since Studio 67, since the vault, since when we was out here on the fields, a lot of you are aware to Inventory Monday. But if you're new to our show, I'm going to let Daryl explain to y'all what Inventory Monday is and the purpose of us doing this show every season that people look forward to now.
Yeah, definitely something that people look forward to. So basically, Inventory Monday is something that we came up with a couple years ago, when, like you said, when we was recording at the Vault in Rocky Mount. It was that Monday as a football player, when you come in to school, you know that you got to turn in some equipment.
You played that last game.
Last game. You got to turn in that helmet, those shoulder pads.
Yes, sir.
The jersey.
It's got to go.
And everything got to.
You got to clean that lockout.
You got to clean that lockout.
Because the basketball team need it, and the rest of the team need
it. and so for a lot of teams, unfortunately, this is where you're at this year.
But what we always say,
there's always a but.
There's always a but.
Always a but, because next year you don't have to be on this list.
You can,
and that's teams that we're going to talk about today that was on Inventory Monday last year. And are now in the playoffs.
Now in the playoffs.
Yeah. So that is a sum of what Inventory Monday is for us. It's just a checklist of things that, as a team, that you wasn't able to accomplish this year, but things that you could check off to say, hey, we was good at this area, but we can improve, and these are the things that we got to do to improve to get there for next season.
That's right. Well, Daryl, with that being said, I'm going to jump right into right here in Nash County. We got an Inventory Monday team.
All right.
Rocky Mount Prep, 0-9, 0-8 in the conference. They played the Tar Roanoke 1A conference, the 1A football. Of course, everybody knows 1A football. Win one game because it's not that many teams in 1A football school in North Carolina. Win one game, you get a playoff.
Right.
One's on the road, or most times, if you win one, you go on the road. Excuse me, if you win 3 or 4, you get to play at home. This team was 0-4 at home, 0-5 on the road. They allowed 493 points. And we've been talking about prep all season long.
Yeah.
That you want to just find your identity. And it starts now going into the off season. Once few years ago, this was a good basketball school and football school.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's kind of still leaning towards a basketball school. But if you're prep, my message to the coaching staff and the kids is, first of all, students, keep doing your homework, keep doing your assignments, keep listening to your coaches, and keep buying into what the coaches say.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't let 0-9 say in your mind, I don't want to play next year, or I don't think this system working. No, keep listening to your coaches, because they're in the rebuilding process.
Right.
And sometimes when you're in that process, you're going to have some years like this. But it's all about how you come back next year, because you get a head start.
Yeah.
If you're not playing basketball or wrestling, playing any winter sports, not playing any spring sports, soccer, baseball, or etc., track and field, or indoor track winter, you get to go ahead, hit the weight room.
Yeah.
Do what you said a couple weeks ago, Daryl. Do those extra things.
Do those extra things. That's that OTAs, doing those things that you got to do to make your team a better next year. And this is that opportunity. So you're not in the playoffs, but doesn't mean that you can't still work out. Doesn't mean that you can't do what you need to do.
The small things.
The small things to get prepared for next season. And so that's what you want to be able to do with some of these teams.
Well, that's my first one right there, Daryl. You got it. I know you got some over there on your side.
Yeah, the team that I'm looking at right now is Nightdale. Nightdale last year was in the
playoff team.
That was a playoff team.
Had a hot season.
Had a hot season. But just like we said, some years you're in that playoff and some years you're not. And they went overall 2-8, but in the conference they went 0-5. And so it was tough for Nightdale, but they had a good game against East Wake early in the season on August 25th. They won 20-14, but it was just a young Nightdale team that the potential is there for them. They got the talent. It's just that it's young talent.
That's right.
And you just got to get that young talent coached up for next season. And if you're the coaches for Nightdale, those are the things that you're talking about with the players. You're telling them, hey, stay with the program. Stay with me. Don't say I ain't playing next year. No, continue to stay with the program.
Because it's building.
It's building. And trust in the coaches, like you were saying, and do the homework, get all those things squared away. So for next year, you'll be in a better position. So that is one team that is on our inventory Monday. But that team, like I said, last year was in the playoffs.
That was in the playoffs. It had a good run.
Had a good run. And next year can build and be right back in the playoffs.
John, I got another while we right there in Wake County. Let me go to East Wake. Quad County Conference play with Rough Fight, Triple S, Southern Wayne, CBA. Tough conference played. This school went 3-7 overall, 3-4 in the conference. And I mean, they made some strides. Last year, they were 2-8.
Yep.
Year before that, 3-8. Year before that, 2-4. COVID season, spring season, 1-7. And if your East Wake going 3-7 means you're heading in the right direction.
Right.
You just need 3 more wins to get that automatic bid in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm looking at some of the schedule that they played. Southern Ash first game, 39-0. You went to that game.
I was at that game.
You said they played a good game.
It was a good game.
Just Southern Ash was just a little too much to handle that night. Then you got that Nightdale game. They lost 2014.
Yeah.
That's one that maybe next year they can steal. But then you jump down. They lost against CBA Cop, but the score was 10-0.
Yep.
ACOT is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's another one. So, I mean, and they leave out on a high note. They beat Triple S 25-6. So you got to win on your last game of the season on the road to build into next season.
Yeah.
So this is another one of those schools that I'm looking for things next year where they can get, make those improvements, cut back on penalties.
Yeah.
The small things to help your team get from off inventory Monday to get to the playoffs.
That's it. So I'm going to just stay in that same conference, Sean. I'm going to go with Southern Wayne. Overall they went 3-7, 1-6 in the conference. Not the season that they wanted.
Right.
They started off strong. I mean,
yeah, we were talking
first
about
two games they won. They beat Eastern Wayne 22-20. Then they came and beat Goldsboro 56-14. And we was talking about
this Southern Wayne team.
This Southern Wayne team was turning things around. But it goes back to what we've been saying. It's just that everything has to be in place at the right time, and it's the leadership on the team, it's the maturity, all of that plays a big part into it. But the Southern Wayne team is a good team that can make some difference down the road next season. They beat a Triple S team. Mm-hmm. They beat them 38-12. And they played a good game against Fight a couple weeks ago.
We were talking about that.
And they just lost 21-14. They was in that game against Fight. So this Southern Wayne team has the potential. Again, just continue to work on those small things on the off season to get prepared for next season, because you had some close games. That East Wake game, 46-32, you lost. So that means you was in that game as well. Just a couple plays here and there could change the outcome of those games. So that's another team that we have on our inventory Monday this year.
I'm going to jump over to 4A, Daryl, to the Greater News River 4A Conference. And another team up there in Wendell, Corn Holders. 2-8, 1-6. 1-4 at home, 1-4 on the road. I mean, I went back and looked last year. They was 3-7. The year before that, 4-6. 1-5 the year before that.
Yep.
But if you're Corn Holders, I mean, you had some good games this season. Broughton, you went to Broughton High off Capitol Boulevard.
Yep.
21-7, you got to win. Then you played South Johnson. You lost 28-12. But that's one of those ones you were probably in it. Then some miscues got you out of it. But after that, you got 24-13. You lost Fuquay Varine. That's another one you probably could have got. Then you had one Southeast Raleigh. You lost 24-21. So those are close games if you're Corn Holders and you're the Pirates. It goes back to what we said. Miscues, communication, being prepared, staying focused. What's the key word, there? Do what?
Do your job.
Do your job.
Do your job.
That's all you got to do.
Somebody else's job.
Do
what
your
you're
job.
supposed to be doing.
And those can turn the season around where you can get back into the playoffs in 4A.
Well, since we're talking 4A, I'm going to go to 1A. Go back to Tarnoke 1A, and I'm talking about a team that we just like the name. Kent Pride.
That's our favorite team.
Overall, they went 2-8, 2-6 in the conference. It was a rough start for them. They lost the first 4 games of the season, and then the first 3 games of the season, and then they got a win against Rocky Mount Prep, and they won 70-6. And again, Kent Pride is another team, a young team. You got a good coach down there at Kent Pride that is trying to turn this program around.
Because they were playoffs 2 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. And he knows it's going to take a little time.
That's right. Rebuild.
Just to rebuild, to get those JV players up, to move them up, to get the program where he wants it to be. But you're going in the right direction. And then they won later on in the season against Northwest Halifax. They won 38-14. So you're getting there.
Right.
And it's just taking a little bit of time. But this is another team with the right situations, with the right scheme, can come around and get back in the playoffs next year.
Well, Darryl, while we're right there to 1A, I'm going to jump over to 2A, Granville Central. 1-9, 0-6. The only win came against Cedar Ridge, 26-13. Then after that, they lost to Bun, Wake Christian Academy, J.L. Well, Vance County, Cabarro, Southern Durham, Lewisburg, and South Granville. And some of these games, I mean, Vance County, 94-18, that's the game he threw 10 touchdowns in.
Yep.
South Granville, that's a rival game, 56-7. Lewisburg, 49-0. Southern Durham, 68-0. Cabarro, 27-0. And if you're Granville Central, I went back and did some research on this team. 0-10 last year, 1-9 the year before that, 1-5 the year before that. But 2019, 2020, 7-5 playoff team. So it's been a rebuilding process because so many people have passed through the hallways, have graduated, that they just haven't been able to get that core group of guys back together like they had in 19 and 20.
Yeah.
And 20. But if you're Granville Central, I mean, you continue sticking to the game plan.
Right.
Because just because you're 1-9 this year, 0-6 in this conference, you can come back next year and be a force in this conference.
Yeah,
definitely. A young team. When I look at a very young team, and it's just going to take them having to do those extra things. And, for teams that we say are young teams, you got to win on not all 3 sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, but that 4th side of the ball.
Right.
Which is do your job and no mental mistakes.
That's
not jumping outside. If the quarterback say we're going on 2, not 1.
No, that's it.
That's what you got to do. And I think the Panthers can turn their season around and get back there. And I'm going to be watching them very hard next season. Because this is a team that I can see doing something very big as they keep rebuilding, getting the program back to where it used to be.
Yeah, definitely. So we stand in the Big East Conference now, Shawn, 2A, Bun Wildcats.
Right here.
Overall, 2-8, 0-6 in the conference. This is not the season that Bun was expecting Bun is that type of program.
Playoff team last year.
It's a playoff team type program. But for Bun, young team, and you was able the first couple games you lost to Whiteville, and then the forfeit with Northampton County. But then you had Granville Central, the team you just talked about.
Right.
You Bun won 42-6. So you have that, and you have that. I want to say, your program at Bun, and the talent that has come through Bun.
Right.
And there's a tradition that's down there in that area for Bun football.
It is.
And so that standard for Bun football is coming back.
It's coming back.
It's coming back. It just may take a little bit of time. And, I just love the fan base out there, the administration, how they support the program, and how they just continue to be there for those kids. And it's turning around. That Bun program is going to turn back around. I know that loss to Lewisburg was a heartbreaking loss for them because that is a hometown rival, big-time rival for them. But Bun's going to get back on track, and I see nothing but, sky's the limit for them.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because, they were playoff team last year.
Yeah, definitely playoff team. They started off strong last year.
Right.
And they definitely...
And they lost a lot of seniors.
Lost a lot.
But one thing about this season with Bun is you lost a lot of seniors, but guess what next season, Daryl? You gained a lot of seniors.
You
gained. Because those juniors are going to be seniors.
Right.
Those sophomores on the team are going to be juniors.
Yep.
And they've been in the trenches, Bun.
Yep.
So they're going to be ready. That's one of them teams you better keep your eyes on.
Keep your eye on them.
Daryl, I'm going to let you stay down there. You got one more?
I got one more. And I got to go to Franklin County. Ram Nation.
Stand up.
Ram Nation. So the football, they went 3-7 this season. 2-4 in the conference.
Okay.
Again, another young team
that's building.
And we have talked about this Franklin team all season long. We had a chance to go down there, film down there, enjoyed it. Got some insight as far as their program, what they're doing, as far as that JV team that's coming up next year. This is the team to watch in this conference next season.
Keep your eye on.
You better keep your eye on. They got a good quarterback. They got some good wide receivers. A good running game, but they just young.
They're young.
And that's the only thing with this Franklin team. They're young, but they got talent coming up from that JV squad next year.
And you got to go through those growing pains.
Yes, definitely got to go through. And I see them in the playoffs next year. The key victories for them was Lewisburg, and they took care of their county.
Yeah, they the grit and grind.
Yeah.
Franklin County champions.
Franklin County champs.
So they got something to put in that trophy case.
Yeah, and it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. So they beat Lewisburg 34-6 this season. Then they had a win against Roanoke Rapids, 22-14. Big win there, and then beating Bun 31-9. So those were some big time wins for them. Atmosphere-wise, the fan base is crazy. It is electric down there.
It's electric.
I just love that fan base in Franklin County. It reminds me of JF Webb. That same fan base, that same attitude, how the community is involved, and they're just right there for those guys. So Franklin Rams are going to be back, and I can see them in the playoffs next year.
I can see that coming. Well, there I got one more. And every year, if you're new to our show, we always have that one team we save last. Because this is the team that, me and Daryl don't talk about the show none all season until Inventory Monday.
Right.
Because we look at the playoff selection on Saturday night, and we begin calling and texting, hey, this team in, this team's not in. And you always have that one team that me and you just don't understand.
Right.
Past couple of years, it's been Lewisburg.
It's been Lewisburg. I was going to say, it was Lewisburg a couple years ago. We really was just confused.
Why they won't get in?
Right.
We found out Lewisburg opted not to get in because they did not want to have to play 3 of the Nash County teams in the conference.
Right.
And they wanted to get moved back over to the old conference, which is the Northern Lakes Conference.
Right.
That happened, Lewisburg in this year. But this team right here plays in the Northern Lakes Conference.
Right.
And this team is turning in uniforms on Monday evening. They're having that talk. And that this team's coaching staff has to have a hard discussion because if you look at the playoffs when we get to them, it's some teams in whose record is not where this record said.
Right.
And I'm talking about the Warriors of J.F. Webb. 5-5, 2-4.
Yep.
But you have some teams that we did research that got in, and don't knock on those teams because you want to get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's
you
what it's
want to
about.
get in.
You want to get in whether you get a road game or a home game with only 1 or 2 wins. It's just like we said about Lewisburg last year. We'll say it again. We don't understand the selection committee selection. And maybe because Roanoke Rapids played 3 teams. There were 3 playoff teams, Northern, Rocky Mountain, Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Franklinton, even though Franklinton didn't get in.
Right.
Maybe because they played those 4 teams, they had a tough strength of schedule. But I don't understand why J.L. Webb is not in the two-way playoffs.
I can't understand that either.
I mean, you got
5-5 overall record.
2-4.
2-4 in the conference.
In the conference. I mean, you beat East Chapel Hill. You beat Warren County.
Right.
You beat American Leadership Academy in Clayton. Granville Central, 50-0. Then you had that loss to Southern Durham and Lewisburg. You lost Lewisburg only by a touchdown.
Right.
Then you beat Cabero in overtime. We were down to homecoming.
Yeah, it was homecoming.
22-16. Then you had a letdown against your rival, South Granville, 42-12. And then you played a hot Vance County team, 61-6. And we said that was J.L. Webb was going to have to play the perfect game Friday night to win this. And we said, you're going to have to play everything's going to have to be a perfect offense, defense, special teams, everything.
Right.
But still, 5-5. And this is me speaking. And Darryl, I'm going to give you a minute to just talk about it. I don't understand why they are not in as a road team in the playoffs. I can't figure it out. I have looked at every calculation of how the selection committee makes the picks, and I still can't figure it out. And I promise you, if the selection committee, if you watch this show, The Grit and Grind, on Studio 67, NCC, and Channel 19, and if you follow us on Instagram, what's the Instagram now?
Grit and Grind Podcast NC.
Please drop us a message. Send us the rules for the selection of teams in the playoffs so that we can do better next year if we have a situation like this.
Yeah,
because every year we get one. We get one every year.
We don't understand. Yeah,
I'm giving you, Darryl. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you summed it up just to give us a clear understanding of why this particular team was not selected to get into the playoffs, at least as a road team, where you have another team that's only won 2 games, and one of them was by forfeit. And it just doesn't add up.
It doesn't.
And so, yeah, definitely reach out to us.
Please do.
Yeah.
Send us the rules and we'll read them. We'll do a Zoom meeting, Teams meeting, whatever we need to do. Because we want to understand.
Right.
Because even like we said with Lewisburg the past 2-3 years, we had people reach out and saying, why is the Warriors in the playoffs?
Right.
We selection committee. They got our request last year.
Yep.
They sent us a message saying Lewisburg opted not to play all the conference teams in the Big East.
Yep.
So they opted not to be a playoff team. We were able to give answers.
That's it.
We got these questions going to come in about J.L. Webb.
Yeah, same question.
And we got questions.
Yeah.
So I feel like in my heart of hearts, J.L. Webb should be a road team, but they're on this list. But I'm going to give a message to the Warriors. And the Warriors, I want you to listen to me. Turn up your iPhone, iPad, Android device, TV, laptop, computer, tablet. However you watch the Grit and Grind podcast, turn it up and listen to me. Next season, you're rebuilding. And you have rebuilt your program. Coach Gainey has got you guys to a place where you had so many losing seasons that you walk out this season at 500, 5-5. My message to you, Warriors, and I'm talking to the students on this football team. Listen to your coaches.
Yep.
Do your homework.
Yep.
Spring OTAs, be there on time. Give it 100, and not 100%, 110% in spring OTA.
Mm-hmm.
Summer OTAs, it's going to be hot out there.
Yeah.
Drink your water. Bring you some water. Give it 110% in some OTAs. Come back next season. Don't go for 6. Don't go for the automatic bid.
Mm-hmm.
Get 8-9 wins so you won't get overlooked.
And you won't get overlooked.
And then they got to automatically give you a playoff game.
And that's what we were saying last season in the summertime. Who's putting in that work?
Who put in that work?
In that work. We talked about this in our area in Nash County for this Grit and Grind Championship. Who was putting in that work? Who was doing those OTAs? Who was showing up at the gym working out?
Right.
Who was coming
Who's in
out
that weight room?
Who was in that weight room?
Who going to tutoring this summer?
That's it.
You know, math coming up or science coming up. You may not be strong in that subject. Who was coming out and talking with that teacher saying, hey, can you give me some pointers before school season gets started?
Right. And that's what this is all about. And that's what we're talking about. Is putting in that work that you need to do to get yourself in a better position next season.
Because that work don't start right here on this football field.
No.
It don't start in that weight room.
No.
You know where it started.
It starts in that classroom.
It starts in that classroom.
Every time it's in the classroom.
So that's what you got to do. Put it in on all 3 levels. If you're giving 110 out here on the field, 110 in the weight room, give 120 in the classroom.
That's it. That's it.
And go ahead and be ready for next season.